Hi, Jeff Munn, Creating Extraordinary Futures. I had a conversation with a new client a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about all of the different reasons why now would not be a good time to hire a new coach. He had just hired a coach. He had just hired a coach, I think, for a year, actually. But there was something that seemed to be calling him, something that he seemed to be wanting to talk about. And what I asked him in noticing how full his life was, and noticing how many obligations he had and how he seemed to be addicted to creating new obligations and not very good about letting go of the ones that he had, I asked him, what would freedom be like? And it took him aback. I think he recognized in that moment, as we talked, is that he had been trying to create more money, create a bigger company, create more stuff in the pursuit of freedom. But what he had actually been doing is building a prison for himself with thicker and thicker bars. More and more obligations, more and more things to do, less and less free time, less and less time with his family, less and less time at his lake house on his boat, relaxing. And so we built an agreement that's 100% around increasing his level of freedom. And what I find, the more that I do this work, is that everyone is looking for some greater sense of freedom. Sometimes that's about, how do I feel free to share what I'm really thinking? How do I feel free to ask what I really want? How do I feel free to do work that I love? How do I feel free to buy the things I want or live the place I want? And some of that's related to outside stuff, but a lot of it's internal. And even the creation of the outside stuff, I believe, starts with who you are being in that creation. So in a very important sense, all of this work around freedom is internal work. And I want to invite you to think about that and how that shows up in your life. What is one thing that you thought would give you more freedom that actually gave you less freedom, or imprisoned you more, if you want to put it more strongly? And what is it that you need to look at differently? Who do you need to be? How do you need to be different in order to create that greater sense of freedom? And it can be really hard not to just further trap yourself, because all of the conventional things that people point to are all outside of yourself. And of course, as I've talked about, if you've been paying attention to my work for any length of time, is there's nothing, not to say there's nothing outside you. There's clearly, well, not, there's probably stuff outside of us. It sure looks that way. But we can never experience it directly. We can only have an internal experience. And so to say that something outside of us is going to make us happy is just, it's a flawed premise. The only thing that we can experience is our thinking. And when our thinking clears or quiets or provides more space, we experience more space. And guess what? More freedom. So think about that if you're curious, and talking about how it might show up for you, or how I might be able to help you through some kind of partnership with you. That could be one-on-one coaching. It could be my coaching group, You Unleashed. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.